Hello and welcome back to the First Issue Club comic book podcast. Steady and reliable.
Just like the tides.
I've been noting that a lot lately. Man, we're not going anywhere.
We're really not. We are married to you, the listener, and we've made a vow to always be there for you week after week, giving you the premium comic book content that you've come to know and trust. We're approaching that 7-year itch, so we may stray for a few months and wander the comic book tender, but we're never leaving.
Yeah, we might need some relationship counseling.
But that's a long ways away. Right now, we're still in it. We're in the honeymoon phase. We love comic books. They bring us joy. We don't loathe walking into the front door. Comic books with their hair and curlers. Dinner not cooked.
Oh, okay.
Just seething.
We're going deep on this analogy, huh? As always, as the title of the show implies, we've got several first issues to talk about. Silver City, we're going to get into it. Aftershock book. Future State, Gotham. Guess what publisher? I don't have to tell you. And then we're talking about Time Before Time out on Image as well. Some good books.
Some great books. Mike, I've been doing some push-ups.
Yep.
I've been doing some squats. I've been doing some leg thrust things.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know why? Do you know why I've been putting in such hard work for this?
Low T.
No, my T's fine. I
Okay.
got capital T, my friend.
Okay, hey. all
Legends of the Hidden Temple is coming back to TVs around the world.
right. Oh.
Adult edition.
Oh, no.
Adults only. No kiddos. Only big kids can play in this legend of the Hidden Temple.
Nostalgia's gone too far.
It has gone too far. People wonder, do we need this? Nope. We have Survivor. We have every other game show you can think of. We don't need a Hidden Temple relaunch. Do you know why it's adults? Only?
No.
There's no alcohol involved or
Okay.
nudity, unfortunately. So,
Yeah.
there was a documentary recently that exposed that the children who were on Legends of the Hidden Temple, their lives were pretty much ruined because they were ridiculed to an inch of their lives by the bullies at their school because the puzzles in this game
Yep.
were meant for adults. They were very hard, thought puzzles.
Yep.
And you're too worried about getting freaked out by some Aztec god around the corner or drop down through the floor of a temple that you couldn't figure them out.
Well, it's frustrating when you're sitting back and looking at what is essentially a warehouse cut in half so you can see the direction people are supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just look like idiots bumbling around a room, not going in that direction, right?
Yeah. Jennifer, don't go in that room. He's right there. Jennifer, don't. Jennifer did.
Jennifer did do it.
Jennifer lost.
I'm assuming some kids might have gotten hurt on that show, too. I don't know if they would have done it the same way that they do it now.
It was
Do they
rough.
have game shows like that with kids anymore?
Not that I can think of. Also, I'm not seeking them out.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I'm not seeking out rough and tumble kid game shows.
They don't do Guts anymore, I don't think.
Nope, no guts or wasn't there one with the American Gladiators and kids would team up to get through obstacles? We're very lazy nowadays.
They do some Jedi challenge things.
It's all esports.
There's a YouTube kids show where they like
a Jedi Academy?
they get lightsabers and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. No, I don't. That's all we knew when we were growing up. Physical challenges and brain teasers.
Yeah.
Now it's all vaping and Rocket League.
When would you rather live?
Now.
Yeah.
Right now it's lit. Technology is sweet. Do not take it for advantage, my young ones.
Yes. All right, a couple other news points you got today, right?
Yeah, the comic book Bitter Root, which we all loved and covered on a previous episode, has been optioned.
Yes.
Are you excited?
You know what? I never followed through with that comic. I read the first issue.
It's just a family who ancestrally hunts these monsters and entities, and so it's kind of a more badass take of Ghostbusters or something.
Sure.
So it seemed like a pretty easy slam dunk to get it onto either film or TV. So I'm very excited for this to come to fruition.
It's a black family, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's good. Superhero diversity.
Yeah.
We need more of that.
It's lacking for sure. So hopefully this busts down some doors.
Yeah.
So that's fun. Some comic book news to deal with the X-Men. I don't know if anyone here needs a tissue before we drop this. X Factor has been canceled as of number 10.
Yeah.
Were you enjoying X Factor?
X Factor was one of the X books I had a tougher time with. I am still buying it. There's a lot of characters, a lot of storylines, several different relationships, and it's one of the wordier X books. Since I'm reading, I think, all of the X books right now, my brain capacity is stretched a little thin, and this one just creeps out into the abyss.
It's
quicker.
the one on the furthest out stretches of it.
Yeah, quicker than the other ones. I lose the details from it month to month. So, I love Leah Williams. She's writing it, right?
She is writing it.
Yeah, and it's a bummer to see her series get canceled. I know people did love this book, but we were texting the other day that it kind of seems inevitable because Polaris got jumped into or voted into
The X-Men.
It was like what part of the fan voting campaign was how she made it, right?
Which, if I could make a plea to the X Office or Marvel in general, please don't do that again.
Leave fans in charge of anything.
That was just a whole mess of a thing.
Right.
So just leave it. You make the call. That way, no feelings are hurt.
Yeah, right.
And no one wants to burn down your offices.
Totally. I know there's a lot of Polaris fans, and people are like, yay, she's in the X-Men. Oh, wait, this book she's starring in is gone.
Well, I mean,
so you might get less of her. You might get more of her. Maybe you see more of her in different ways. I don't know.
I've always seen like the Outer X books as like little flashes of importance in time. Like X Factor will be back in some iteration eventually.
Sure.
I'm thinking they just wanted to tell it real quick of what's going on with these people and then move on to something else.
Yeah.
And so what they're moving on to is there supposedly is a murder going to happen at the Hellfire Gala.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. Ooh,
okay.
Intrigue.
So it's going to be like Clue.
Exactly. Exactly like Clue.
I already pre-ordered all of the Hellfire Gala books.
Same.
And got the Russell Dodderman connecting covers. I
Same.
have the whole set. You did?
Yes.
Yeah. I've only seen 2 of them.
They look cool.
Yeah.
They look really awesome.
They do look sweet. So I think the entire stretch is going to be like a
green carpet. They call it the green carpet.
Instead of a red carpet, it's a green carpet.
Yeah, which is really fun. I love how they're leaning into this gala thing, and some of the looks that they're putting up for these X-Men are fucking awesome.
They're rad. It's really fun seeing how many of the X-Men artists and people they brought in to help design outfits. Like everyone's posting a lot of it and a lot of the process on their social media, and you can tell the artists were just like had a lot of fun doing this, and it's like a highlight of their year.
Yeah.
So I just think it's so much fun. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of people who look at this from the outside who are fans and be confused as to like, why are we doing like an X-Men fashion party thing? I don't know that it has appeal to everybody, but it's like definitely for me. Like the more time I spend with like the run up to it and all the things that are happening in the comics where they keep mentioning the gala, I'm like, oh, it's coming, yes.
I think it's just a fun thing to do for X fans and X fans alone. I don't think it's pulling in Avengers or Star Wars fans.
I feel excited like I was for Ten of Swords, but at the same time, I know this gala event isn't going to be as heavy and cumbersome as Ten of Swords was. As much as I love Ten of Swords,
right?
It was what, like 22 issues?
Too many.
This is like half of that.
Yeah.
So,
but there is a murder.
But there's a murder. A murder I can handle. It's not like a cross-dimensional war.
No, where people need to go into space and create a new team.
Right.
Well, and from that murder, the spin-out will be The Trial of Magneto, a new book coming out, which is written by Leah Williams, our friend from X Factor.
Oh, okay, good.
And the artist Lucas Wernick, who worked on like Next Gen and a couple other X-Men books.
All right, yeah.
2 people who are very well-versed in the X-Men universe, so that could be a lot of fun.
So we're already, because of the announcement of this book, we know that, one, there's going to be a murder at Hellfire Gala.
Yes.
And two, that Magneto is going to be accused of the murder.
Yes.
Man, that's so much to give away before the event even happens.
I know. You can thank Final Order Cutoff for that.
Yeah, what the hell? They should have waited to reveal this book.
I agree.
I mean, maybe the way it happens, it's like right away and it's not a mystery.
And just like the Hellfire Gala is just ruined to begin with, and they do all this lead up for naught.
Yeah, I don't know. That's bizarre. With someone on the Quiet Council, someone so important to X-Men, being on the chopping block for murder, I mean, that's a...
Yeah. There's like a sneak preview of like the cover, and it's Ramita Jr. Who's doing the cover or whatever, and Magneto's in all black Magneto suit instead of his all white.
Oh, okay.
So it looks pretty slick.
All right, awesome.
So I'm excited for the gala. I'm excited for the trial of Magneto.
Yep.
X-Men is kind of kicking on all cylinders right now. It's a good time to be an X-Men fan.
Yep.
So cool things ahead. What do you say we get into some number ones?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because that's why people are here.
Mm-hmm.
They're tired of us jawing and chewing the fat of the news.
Yeah, right.
They came for the good stuff.
Let's give it to them. Let's give you some good stuff.
Wow.
I want to start with Image's Time Before Time
Mm-hmm.
by Declan Shavley and Rory McConville.
Two Irish boys.
Yeah. Are you a fan of theirs already?
Yes. I've read a couple of their books.
Same.
Funny enough, Declan Shavley is mostly an illustrator.
Right, yeah.
And so I was confused. I was like, I think I know that name,
Yep.
but not as a writer.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful book.
Yeah.
I think he did a great job.
Definitely.
What is Time Before Time?
Time Before Time is basically a time... It's not necessarily a time heist. It's like a time escape book.
Yeah, like you can buy your way into a different time period.
Right.
For to make currency. But the underlying story is they're also using the time machines to like bring contraband back to the time that we're going to focus on.
Right.
So it sounds really murky, but the way it's laid out is just like, oh, okay, so it's like shitty Wall Street bro trying to make a buck with time machines.
Right.
And it's the people who run the time machines that we're going to be following.
There's so many little aspects of this already. Like this book had a micro story that I thought was going to be the arc of like the, entire first run, or maybe even beyond that. I thought this whole idea was going to go for maybe the entire series of two of the guys who are like working off their debt to the company, saying, hey, let's just steal one of these time pods and like
totally
go hang out in paradise, because the timeline they're living in like fucking sucks. So
kind of like this timeline.
But it's funny to see people go back to the 80s because they're like, life was good. Like pollution wasn't insane yet.
No Wi-Fi to bug you.
Yeah, you know what to invest in, so you can go into the 90s and aughts like crazy rich. So if you're rich enough to buy your way back, you've got it made.
Yep.
Time travel is very finicky. A lot of people don't know it exists unless you're uber rich. You can't really get back to the time that you've gone from because this company's just like dropping people on and off. And time machines are breaking left and right.
I think it's more of a thing where you want to stay there permanently.
Yeah, right.
Like you're not looking to come back, because we saw one where it's like a witness protection situation. Yep. There's one where this guy
is basically a murderer.
He is a murderer.
Yeah.
And he's just like dropped off in the 60s, like where he will probably murder again. And so it's fun seeing that. It was fun, like the little jokes of the kid was just like, well, what's the Wi-Fi here? And the guy's like, the Wi-Fi won't be invented for like 10 more years, buddy.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I thought it was great because you're right. There was this beginning story of the two coworkers are just like, you know what? Fuck this job.
Yep.
It's our last day. It's like how you and I would like steal like a soda machine or something and go off and have sodas for the rest of our lives. Except they're going to steal a time machine and live off the end of their years in like some kind of paradise time.
Yeah.
But it doesn't end up that way.
Oh, no. And again, I thought they were going to go back to Paradise Time and live out this story.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they get interrupted for a job, and they say, basically making eyes at each other, they're like, we'll do this tomorrow, I guess.
Sure.
We'll put it off one day.
We've got nothing but time.
Turns out, one of the guys gets trapped on a job and is gone for 60, 50 years or something.
In his timeline, he's gone for 50 years.
Yeah.
In the timeline that we focus on in the comic book, he's gone for a day.
A day. So they send him back to the next day
Mm-hmm.
when he's rescued by some bureaucrat, and his partner's like, okay, my buddy's back. Let's go do this thing tomorrow. He sees his buddy who's 99 years old on the verge of death.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
It's so the striking image of this once strong, visceral, young coworker, friend of his.
Right.
And then what we get on the next page is this shriveled up little old man in a futuristic wheelchair with a breathing tube, just
who, by the way, immediately admits to having just taken a suicide pill.
Yeah, just you got about 8 minutes, and then I'm done.
I'm out of here. I just came back to tell you, go for it.
Yeah, you take it. I fucked up.
Yeah.
So that was so, and that was just a small blip.
Yeah.
Of what the book is actually about.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes to steal this time machine because he's
Right.
fucking done, and he himself gets hijacked by this woman.
Who turns out to be an FBI agent.
Who turns out to be an FBI
and
agent.
we know nothing of what's going on with that.
Nope, just a random character dropped into the midst.
We don't know what time she's from
Mm-mm.
or what her task at hand was, if she's a good guy or bad guy. Man, I love it. We also don't know what time they got sent to. The time machine was in a blaze of gunfire.
Yeah, and one of the parts got broken.
Yes. And they do this really beautiful graphic design thing with the year at the top of every they paneled it so well so that when you do a page turn, it's big bold letters in the first panel that tell you the year all the way across.
Yes.
And in the last one, they're all glitchy half numbers. Looks like when your old digital clock is fried.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got no clue exactly what time they're in. You just know it's a different time.
Yeah, and they're trapped there.
And they're basically trapped there, right? They've got a busted up time machine.
I'm very excited to see where this book goes.
Yeah.
When we selected the books for this, it's kind of a slim pickings for this week. And I thought, Time Before Time, another time travel book, we've read a few of those. I kind of know what to expect. Throw your expectations out the window, because this book is completely original, completely
Slapper.
new. It's slapping, claps cheeks. It's great. Goes so hard, slaps so hard it fucks.
It reminded me of Paper Girls a little bit, which again,
Good
time
yeah.
travel book. It gets to the more of the context of the world you're in a little faster than Paper Girls did.
Mm-hmm.
Paper Girls kind of left you confused about what exactly was happening for a few more issues before they revealed kind of the structure of it.
The first few issues of Paper Girl were more just a teenage story about being Paper Girls.
And it kind of got a little sci-fi, and you were like, what's going on here?
Yeah. Ooh,
this
freaky.
One's immediately time travel drama.
Yeah. It was so fucking rad. And
that's not to say it could turn into something else, but
this could go in 50 different directions.
Yeah.
Just from the way we got pushed and pulled in the first issue, I have no idea where this is going to go.
The guy who owns the time travel company is a very interesting character.
Right. His dad's breathing down his neck.
Yeah.
Because the dad gave him 10 time machines.
Yep.
And now he's down to, I think, 0 now?
I guess 0 now, yeah.
So either he has to borrow a time machine from somebody else, or they need to invent another one.
Yeah.
So
it was kind of a reveal when he was like, okay, Dad.
One panel is just Dad.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, fuck, it's his dad. And then I was like, wait, I don't know who his dad is.
Yeah, what the fuck do I care? It's because we've all had dads. We've all had dads talking to us on phones.
God damn, it's another dad thing.
Dads on phones suck. Did you mow the lawn? Yes, Dad.
Can never get off the phone.
Quick enough.
Make sure that when you're on the ladder, you're careful.
Did you anchor it? Did you anchor the ladder? Yes, Dad. Jesus fucking
If
Christ.
you're using the circular saw, you're going to want to make sure you don't get anywhere near the blade. No shit, Dad.
That's why I have 9 fingers instead of 10. Learn my lesson.
All right. Would recommend, obviously.
Would 100% recommend. The artwork in it was astounding. Just like a well thought out book in process from writer and illustrator. Just the whole creative team up and down. Just knew what they were doing.
Mwah. Image, you got a hit on your hands. Silver City, Aftershock is our next #1 issue to talk about.
It's the only #1 issue. Psych, they're all #1 issues. That was a Greg Lichtai goof.
Fooled ya.
Silver City, out on Aftershock by Olivia Curado-Briggs and Lucia Merli. It is about the afterlife.
Yes.
There is a catastrophic event happening at an airport. Plane explodes. These characters wake up to this like very Tim Burton-esque metropolis landscape of tall buildings, people with goggles and flashlights.
Yeah.
And they're being told they're dead. Congratulations, you're dead.
I had no concept of what this book was about before I bought it.
The cover was so misleading.
Yeah, it was.
I was like, oh, we're going to get like a New York punk story thing?
Totally. That's what I thought too. Which maybe kind of.
I mean, the punk thing for sure.
I
because
mean, they're still punks, and then the afterlife is basically placed in a limbo that resembles a large metropolis, a large dirty metropolis.
Filthy. Like the afterlife is dusty.
This has got a lot more grime than New York City has. But when the plane explodes and they all wake up in a like warehouse looking room with these like weird scientist guys pointing flashlights at them.
Let me see your eyes.
I was like, oh no, this is like Saw or something. Like,
is this Saw 10? God damn it.
Like they like were picked up from this disaster area and put in some sort of like gross horror movie scenario, but you quickly find out that they've died and that the afterlife is very bureaucratic, I guess. That it's like, come into your filing station, you're going to get a number. You've got tentative housing before you're on your own.
I'm always intrigued when people do like a death comic or an afterlife comic, because people's interpretations of the afterlife or how they envision the afterlife or, you know, reason what the afterlife is always intriguing to me.
Yeah.
This one is kind of like real life.
Yeah.
You know, you have buildings, you have houses, you have music, you have bars. Like, it's very much just like a holding place that is familiar.
Yeah.
To take you to what's after that.
Were we supposed to take the person in the bar as Janis Joplin?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know any other person that would be depicted like that. So I'm assuming it's Janis Joplin. We read Lila Starr, which is also kind of a bureaucratical take on the afterlife. I don't know why people think there's a lot of paperwork when you die. I don't know if it comes from, you know, movies or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's always funny where people are, I mean, do you remember the book Judas from Image?
Yes.
Which is a very biblical accurate book. Like, it had weird, bizarre interpretations of the afterlife. Get weird with it.
Yeah.
I don't know why people have to be so formal with like their takes on the afterlife, or just like, I don't know where that concept comes from, or like the comfort of it. You know what I mean? Of just like, is it easier to digest?
Because it's something you understand.
Yeah. I guess that's exactly right.
This is the structure to life that I understand, so this is what the afterlife would be like. I mean, it's almost kind of funny to me to say like, hey, guess what's after this? The same thing.
Which is like, oh, well, that's boring.
I know, right?
You want something just like crazy and fantastical. And we do kind of get something like that with this big angel in like armor.
Yeah.
So there is this like
kind of
element,
mythical figure that there aren't many believers in, which is interesting to go to the afterlife and be like, there is some sort of godlike figure that some of us believe in. It's just like, man, I don't even get answers to like why and how we're here. I die and then I have to like go to like a job program to find out like how I can get a career at this late stage in my like life. It's so bizarre. I loved that like once you die, you don't age, deteriorate,
Mm-hmm.
etc. You don't gain weight, you don't lose weight. You're just kind of like stuck as is. But if your exterior skin is like damaged, it's basically this like shell that now has to be repaired. So a lot of the people are like patchwork
Yes.
goofballs at this point because they've been like fucked up so many times.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're living the hard life in the afterlife, you're going to have to like have leftover skin.
Yeah, you look like Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like stitched
Yes,
together.
exactly right.
So, yeah, it was a very fun interpretation of the afterlife,
Mhm.
and it has me hooked for number 2. I kind of want to see where this goes.
The cliffhanger is great.
And yeah, the cliffhanger was she's rescued this small girl from like these carnies or these Victorian looking like clowns or like
Yeah.
fops or whatever, like the medieval like fancy boys.
Yes, totally. I don't know what they were doing.
Were they after her skin?
Maybe. I mean, they've got to get the excess skin patches from somewhere, right? Do they just like kidnap newbies with great skin?
Maybe, but then what happens to that girl? Can you die in the afterlife?
You can't die, but you can just like look like a bag of shit.
Man, I thought the afterlife was supposed to be like way better.
Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, don't be a patchwork person.
Okay. Well, 2 good first issues so far. Was the third one good?
Let's find out.
We're talking about Future State Gotham out on DC. Duh.
You guys are probably wondering, guys, Future State ended like a month ago. Well, this one's late, and it came out last week, so we're covering it.
Sorry.
It's not our fault. Take it up with DC.
Joshua Williamson wrote this one. It was done in like a manga style.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that was going to happen.
I didn't either.
When I opened it up and it was black and white, I was like, oh, a black and white book. And then I flipped a couple pages and I was like, is this like a parody of manga?
I think it's
Homage.
in respects
In
to,
respect to.
because the artist who did it also did Prophet in Ronin Island, who is also, and it's also in that same kind of
Okay.
particular drawing style.
So that's just this person's style.
Yes.
It's not necessarily, it wasn't like a gimmicky thing.
It
It's
wasn't
not over.
supposed to look like that to tie into the story
Okay.
or whatever. I
Yeah,
think
it's
just,
not over the top or anything. It was very much like a typical comic you'd read, but 100% in that sort of
influenced by
Japanese comic style.
Yeah. I thought it was cool. I thought
Yeah.
it lended itself, the artwork lended itself to the story in a pretty perfect way.
Uh-huh.
You don't really realize it until it's drawn like that Gotham is just a giant Akira film
Yeah.
waiting to be depicted.
Yeah, totally.
So the story is whatever because it's a part of Future State.
It was an easy read.
It's super easy read.
It's kind of like what Jason Todd, Red Hood, has been up to. Am I right? Jason Todd's the right Robin here?
Yeah.
I get my Robin.
Well, there's 40
confused.
of them,
Yeah.
so yeah. So it's Jason Todd, Red Hood, and he becomes Peacekeeper Red
Yes.
because he wants to be a member of the Peacekeeper Corps, which is like the new police force in the Future State.
Yep. If you read a bunch of Future State books, you know that he's been like working with them, sorta. He's like almost a freelancer.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, you take care of like costume vigilantes and
Well, it's kind of the only way he can continue to fight crime.
yep.
Because he does wear a mask, and in the Future State realm, if you wear a mask, you get shot on sight. And this is
Right.
his way of getting around that.
Yes.
So I thought it was good. If you were reading Future State, it was a fun story to add to your collection and get enriched with that. If you like manga, also a fun book to pick up. And if you like Jason Todd,
Yeah.
fun book to pick up.
I'm super interested in all the magistrate stuff just because they were so quick to put it in mainline Batman.
Super quick.
So, like, Batman, 108 that we just got,
Mm-hmm.
like, they much more formally introduced us to Peacekeeper 1.
Yeah, it gives him his origin
Right.
of him becoming Peacekeeper 1.
And I kept thinking during these Future State books that we were going to get some crazy reveal that, like, Peacekeeper number 1 is Deadshot or somebody like that.
Turns out it's just some guy.
Yeah, and there wasn't a reveal because they give it to you in the normal run of Batman. So it's really interesting to see, I guess, if Future State is a where could it go or where will it go sort of thing. I'm not totally sure, but I love getting more hints into the dynamic of that private police service now that it's canon, I guess.
Oh, it's totally canon.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that. I'm interested in the rest of the Bat Fellows who are still hanging around, who are, like, I guess, rejecting Jason Todd at this point, saying, like, okay, you're no longer one of us.
Which is sick.
Yeah.
They had that little meeting on the roof, and
they're like, this is a family meeting, bitch.
Yeah, fuck off. You work for the cops now. Beat it.
Another huge thing from this is that some sort of, we can assume, villain sets off some charges that, like, blow a major hole in the middle of Gotham City. And then they finally get an aerial image of all the buildings that have collapsed and the streets that have imploded. And it's in the perfect shape of the bat symbol.
Right. Everyone
assumes that the next Batman, another Gotham book, is responsible for this.
Correct.
So past Bruce Wayne, if you didn't read those books, who's
Jace
Fox, Lucius's son,
yeah,
is the new Batman.
The new Batman.
And we don't know for sure whether he's responsible for this or not, but we can assume not because
we saw fucking Disco Viking in the sewers looking all brooding.
And it was a horrible act of terrorism, which Batman's not really known for.
No. But that page was super striking.
Mm-hmm.
It was so cool to see that depicted in, like, just this gaping hole of the bat symbol.
Yeah.
In the earth, and you're just like, logistically getting those bombs to go off in that way.
Oh, I know.
Wow, what a nightmare.
You've got some time on your hands.
Yeah, and you know a lot about
demolition,
city planning.
Yeah.
So kudos to you, weird Viking in the sewer.
So the crux where that situation leaves us is another thing that's interesting to me about this, because you've got Jason Todd, who basically knows in his heart that Batman isn't responsible for this.
Yeah.
But they've essentially said to him at the magistrate that, hey, if you want your peacekeeper spot to officially become a peacekeeper, you got to bring Batman in.
Yep. He's in his probationary period.
Yes. And if you fail at that, you're out of the magistrate forever. You're just, like, done.
Yep.
You can't work with us anymore. You can't be part of the crew. You're out.
Can't sit with us at lunch.
Right. And since he's got the Bat family saying, nope, bye as well, basically the magistrate is, like, all he's got for his own self-worth, identity, mission in life, whatever.
Right.
So at some point, things are going to come to a head, and there's going to be a comeuppance. I mean, I assume there's going to be at least 2 more of these at a minimum.
Yeah. It's with the Future State, we found out that it's not long runs. It's like 2 or 3 for the bigger ones. So we got at least 2 more books.
Right.
And then we'll figure out
what happens from there.
Okay.
I love it. Another one that I think is, like, if you dug Future State, it's a must buy. If you, like you mentioned earlier, if you just kind of like that Japanese comic art style, then it's a fun Batman book to buy.
Low stakes, high fun.
Yes, right.
The perfect combination for a comic book.
There were a couple other books that we read this week that were not as easy reads.
No, a little complex.
X Corp, I think we're going to get into the weeds a little bit more on the Patreon. along with maybe a couple other books.
I read the follow-ups to a lot of the Heroes Reborn,
Yep.
so I'm going to brief some of those on the Patreon, which, holy shit, they're actually pretty good.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
we'll get into it.
All right. I'm excited to hear about them.
So, James Aaron, you've done it again.
We know
We know it's Jason Aaron.
we know it's Jason.
The episode just came out.
Yeah,
We
he-
said James Aaron's a funny bit.
Yep. Just want to make that double clear.
Triple clear. We're not dumb,
Yeah.
but the episode is over.
Bye.